The U.S. and China are going back to the negotiating table next month. Now, Liu He, Robert Lighthizer, and Steven Mnuchin reportedly spoke by phone this week, and now China and the U.S. have agreed to hold high-level in-person talks in Washington in early October. So that is next month. Our own Jessica Smith is live there with the details. Jess, what is the latest on this, and how optimistic can we be? Or, as I suspect, are markets right now kind of overreacting toward the positive?
Well, let's just go through what both sides are saying here. The USTR confirms that the high-level negotiators did talk on the phone yesterday, and they did agree to high-level talks in the coming weeks. But the Trump administration is not committing to that October date that we've heard about from China. They also announced that there will be mid-September lower-level talks. And if you want to kind of dig into the phrasing here, they say those talks will lay the groundwork for meaningful progress. So we're waiting to see what will come out of these mid-September talks, because based on that statement, it appears there is some sort of threshold that the U.S. has in order to commit to the date in order to get to those high-level talks. We're not quite sure what that is, but they will only say high-level talks in the coming weeks, and they want to lay the groundwork for meaningful progress. Another important date to note is October 1st. That's when the next round of tariffs will go up. Those tariffs that are set at 25% are set to go to 30%, so that could add an interesting dynamic to the mix if they are going to have talks here in Washington in October.
Jess, it's tempting to ascribe some of the optimism or some of the positivity right now to the progress with the Hong Kong protests earlier this week. What's your take on that? Are people in D.C. talking about that, the withdrawal of that extradition bill?
You know, that has come up, and people have been watching it and how that will play into the trade talks. And, you know, the president even at one point said that China needed to deal with the Hong Kong situation, saying that that was kind of priority for them over the trade talks, is what he was seeming to hint at there. But I think there is optimism over the fact that both sides are saying they're going to have high-level talks, even though China is saying October, the U.S. not quite there yet, just saying the coming weeks. But the fact that they are agreeing to get back to the table and look for progress, I think, is why investors are optimistic here.
And Jessica, you mentioned the escalation in tariffs. So we have the September 1st, 15% tariffs plus the October 1st deadline. Any indication that this is the reason why we're seeing them not meet in person in D.C. as they had said in September and pushing that to October?
You know, I think this is just my speculation here, but I think they want to have those lower level talks first to see if there's kind of a point to be in the same room. You'll remember when U.S. negotiators went to Shanghai earlier this year, they came back with nothing really. Then that's when we saw talks really deteriorated. The president announced those new tariffs. So I think the U.S. may not want to get caught in that position again. So that's why they're having these lower level talks in September, seeing what they can come up with, and then moving on to those higher level talks. Again, that's just my speculation as I'm looking at this, as I've covered this throughout the past year and a half. I'd say that the U.S. negotiators just don't want to get caught in a position where they're like, hey, why are we in this room again? Nobody's budging.
Right. All right. Well, we'll keep monitoring. Jess Smith, thanks so much.
Of course.